5 tips, 30 days. Every dollar tracked, every receipt kept. No cherry picking the results that made me look smart. Every big finance channel runs the same 5 tips on a loop. Cashback apps, sell your junk, switch your savings account, start a side hustle, get passive income going. You've seen all 5, probably from 5 different channels, all claiming the same thing. Do this and watch the money show up. So I ran all 5, real numbers, real month. And the tip that ended up making the most money wasn't even close to the one I expected. It wasn't the one with the flashy thumbnail. It was the one nobody bothers making a video about. I'll show you exactly why by the end. No fluff. Let's get into the actual numbers. Quick rules so this is a fair test and not just me telling you what you want to hear. Every tip had to be something you could start tonight. No course, no certification, no waiting 3 weeks for approval. 30-minute setup cap, hard limit. I tracked every dollar in a plain spreadsheet, no rounding in my favor. And I'm ranking these not by what they made in month 1, but by what they're actually worth if you just leave them running. Because that's the part every "I made $500 this month" video conveniently skips. Let's go. Tip 5. Cashback and roundup apps. Starting at the bottom. This is the tip you've seen 100 times. Someone holds up their phone, shows a screenshot, says, "I made $300 just by shopping normally." Roundup apps take your card purchases, round up to the nearest dollar, and drop the difference into savings. Cashback apps kick back a small percentage on groceries, gas, whatever category they're running a deal on that month. I ran 2 apps side by side for 30 days. Changed nothing about how I actually shop. No extra purchases just to activate a category, because that defeats the whole point. Week 1. The Roundup app pulled in $2.87. Genuinely almost nothing, and that's normal. Roundups on a normal week of spending average about 70 cents a day if you're using a card for most things. Week 2, $3.41 from Roundups, plus my first real cashback hit. $11.20 back from a grocery run because the app happened to have an active bonus category that week. The good returns are almost always tied to a rotating bonus category you have to remember exists, and most people don't check before they shop, which means most people are leaving that bonus on the table without knowing it. Week 3, Roundups, $2.95. Cashback, $9.80. This time from gas. Week 4, Roundups, $2.20. Cashback, $13.80. I actually went out of my way here, checked the bonus categories before a bigger purchase, routed it through the right portal. That's the only week I tried. Added up, Roundups over the month, $11.43. Cashback, $34.80. Total, $46.23. Here's the honest math on this. Annualized, assuming a totally normal month like the one I just ran, you're looking at somewhere around $500 to $600 a year. That's not nothing. That's a real contribution to an emergency fund. And if you're spending the money anyway, it is genuinely close to free. But notice what happened the 1 week I actually paid attention versus the 3 weeks I didn't. The cashback number nearly doubled, which tells you the tip isn't really install the app. It's remember to check the app. And that's a habit most people quietly drop after week 2. I almost did. There's also a quieter thing going on here that these apps never lead with. They're not doing this out of generosity. The Roundup app is investing your spare change and taking a small cut of the returns. And the Cashback app gets paid by retailers for driving traffic through their portal, and you're getting a slice of that. It's a legitimate deal, but it's not free money in the way the thumbnails frame it. It's a referral fee, and you're the referral. Verdict on tip 5. A fine, set it and forget it habit that pays for maybe a nice dinner out over the course of a year. Not a wealth strategy. Not even close. Tip 4. Selling unknown stuff. Every big finance channel eventually does the dramatic closet clean-out video. So 1 closet, 1 garage corner, 1 kitchen cabinet. No thrifting to find inventory to flip. That's a different business entirely, and a lot of channels blur that line on purpose because it makes the number look bigger. Day 1. I actually laid everything out on the floor first, which I'd recommend, because you forget how much dead weight is sitting in a house until you see it in one pile. Ended up with 19 items worth trying to sell. First up, electronics. An old phone that had been sitting in a drawer for 2 years. 2 cables nobody in the house could identify a use for. And a game console from a system nobody plays anymore. Listed all 4 the same day. The phone sold in 6 hours for $140. Old electronics move fast if the price is honest and the photos are decent. The console took 9 days and went for $60. Less than I expected because a newer version came out and tanked the resale value overnight. The 2 cables, genuinely, never sold. Ended up donating them. Total from electronics, $210 on a $260 estimate. First lesson, your own valuation of what this is worth is almost always higher than what the market actually pays. Clothes were next, and this is where most people waste the most time. I tried listing pieces individually first. 11 shirts, 3 jackets, a couple of pairs of jeans, and got exactly 1 bite in 5 days. So I switched strategy, bundled everything by size and season into 3 lots, and all 3 sold within the week for a combined $95. Less total money than if every single piece had sold individually at full price, but realistically, a huge chunk of those individual listings would have sat there forever. Bundling trades a bit of top-line value for actually closing the deal, and for anyone doing this for the first time, that trade is almost always worth it. Last category, 1 kitchen appliance, used exactly twice, still had the box. Sold in 2 days for $40. Kitchen gear in good condition with original packaging moves fast. That's consistently true. Grand total for the month, $345. Against roughly 4 hours of actual hands-on work, photographing, writing listings, answering messages, and 2 trips to drop off packages. That works out to somewhere around $85 an hour, which sounds incredible until you say the next sentence out loud. This does not repeat. I cannot sell that same phone again next month. The well is now empty. This is a one-time windfall wearing an income stream costume. And any channel that presents a closet cleanout as a repeatable monthly strategy is quietly hoping you don't notice that the second month's video would just be an empty room. Genuinely worth doing once a year as a reset, not something to build a plan around. Tip 3. The high-yield savings switch. This is the tip that sounds the most boring on paper, and it's the one nearly every serious finance channel says to do before anything else on this list. Move whatever cash is sitting in a regular checking or savings account, earning basically nothing, into a high-yield account. I moved $4,200, which is what was sitting idle in an account earning a rate so low it rounds to 0 on a monthly statement. New account, right around 4% annually, which is a realistic number for this kind of account right now, not some limited-time teaser rate that drops off after 90 days. I specifically avoided those because the teaser rate trick is how a lot of these accounts get you to switch and then quietly downgrade you. 30 days of interest on $4,200 at that rate comes out to just under $14. $14. Written down next to the $345 from selling stuff, or the $480 you're about to see from the side hustle. That number looks almost embarrassing. If I stopped the video here, tip 3 would rank dead last. But here's the part that changes everything, and it's the part every boring savings tip video buries in one sentence instead of actually running the math on. That $345 from selling stuff is gone. There's no more inventory. Next month it's 0. The $14 from the savings switch repeats. Every single month, for doing nothing beyond the 15 minutes it took to open the account and move the money once. Let's actually run that forward instead of just saying it compounds and moving on, because the real number is more interesting than the vague version. $14 a month is $168 a year on that balance alone. But if you're also contributing new money into that account over time, even modestly, say another $100 a month, the balance and the interest both grow together. At the same rough rate, that account is on pace to be earning around $50 a month in pure interest by year 3, without a single additional decision required from you. By year 10, if the balance has grown to something like $20,000 through regular contributions plus the switch, you're earning close to $65 to $70 a month in interest alone. Money that shows up whether you think about it or not. Compare that to Tip 5's cashback apps, which cap out around the same annual number forever and never grow past it because they're tied to how much you spend, not how much you save. The savings switch has no ceiling. It just needs time. One honest caveat. A few of these high-yield accounts have minimum balance requirements or monthly fees that quietly eat the entire benefit if you're not paying attention. So actually read the fine print before you move a dollar. That 15 minutes of setup is also 15 minutes of due diligence, not just clicking the first ad you see. It's the least exciting $14 I made this month. It's also the only one still getting bigger while I'm not looking at it. Tip 2. The simple side hustle. Every finance channel's favorite category, and also the vaguest, so I picked the single most repeated specific version across 5 different big channels. Freelance a skill you already have, on a platform, in small blocks of spare time. No new equipment purchased, no course bought first, you use what you already know how to do. Week 1 was rough, and I want to actually say that instead of skipping to the good part. Set up the profile, wrote and rewrote the offer description 4 times trying to figure out how to not sound like every other listing. Priced it too high on the first attempt, adjusted it down after 0 interest for 4 straight days. Ended week 1 at exactly $0. And if you're watching this thinking about starting something similar, that week 1 silence is normal, not a sign it's not working. Week 2. First client. Small task, quick turnaround. Paid $60. That first sale mattered less for the money, and more because the listing suddenly had a completed order attached to it, which is what actually starts getting it shown to more people. The platform's algorithm rewards proof of activity, not just a good pitch. Week 3. 2 more clients. One of them the same person from week 2 coming back. $180 for the week. This is the point where it stopped feeling like an experiment and started feeling like a real, if small, operation. I had a folder of message templates by this point because I was answering the same 3 questions over and over. Week 4. The repeat client booked again, plus 1 brand new client who found the listing through a search, not a referral, meaning the visibility was actually building on its own now. $240 for the week, the best of the month. Total, $480 for roughly 14 hours across the month once you count messaging time, not just the billable hours. That's about $34 an hour, which is a genuinely solid rate for spare time work, better than most part-time retail or service jobs. And unlike the closet cleanout, the trend line is climbing every single week instead of being a one-time hit. The catch, and it's a real one that the thumbnails gloss over. This required an actual usable skill, actual back-and-forth communication with real people, actual time that has to happen when the client needs it, not just whenever you feel like it. This is not passive. This is a part-time job you built from scratch in a month, and if the growth curve from week 1 to week 4 holds even roughly steady, this is realistically on pace to become a genuine second income within 2 or 3 more months, but it will always cost you hours to maintain. That trade-off is the whole story of this tip. Tip 1. The one nobody puts in the thumbnail. This is where it gets interesting, because this tip almost didn't make the list. It's not in anybody's top-line pitch. It's the line buried in the middle of a video, never the headline. Get one small, boring, recurring stream of income running, instead of chasing another one-time win. I picked the smallest, most repeatable version I could set up inside the 30-day window. A single recurring service arrangement with 1 client. Billed monthly on autopay instead of paid once and done. Same work, repackaged as a subscription instead of a one-off. Setup ate about 3 hours in week 1, not finding the client. That part took longer and isn't glamorous enough for a highlight reel. But structuring the actual offer as recurring instead of one time, and getting the payment set to autopay so it doesn't rely on either of us remembering to invoice each month. Income in week 1, 0. Same as the side hustle. Income for the rest of the month once it was actually running, $150. On its own, sitting next to the side hustle's $480. That number looks small. Weak, even, if you're only looking at the 1 month in front of you. Here's where I want to slow down, because this is the actual point of the whole video. Run this forward the way none of the other 4 tips let you. The cashback apps stay flat around $46 a month if I keep using them exactly the same way, forever, no growth. The closet sale is done. There is no more inventory in that closet. That number is 0 starting next month. The savings switch pays a steady, slowly growing $14 and up a month. Genuinely good, but capped by how much I'm able to add to the balance. The side hustle is real and growing, but it costs 14 hours of active work every single month to keep producing that number. Stop working. The income stops with it. This recurring tip costs 0 additional hours after the first month. Month 2, $150. Same client, autopay, no new setup. Month 3, $150. Plus, I added a second small recurring client using the exact same offer template, so now it's $300. Month 4 projection. If that pattern holds even modestly, somewhere around $400 to $450, and every dollar of it required less new work than a single new listing on the side hustle platform. Stack 6 months of that trajectory against the other 4 tips, and the recurring stream is on pace to be earning more per month, with less ongoing effort, than everything else on this list combined. Not because the tip itself is more powerful, but because it's the only one of the 5 that compounds through repetition instead of resetting to 0 every cycle. That's the twist nobody puts in a thumbnail. The tip that looked weakest in week 1 was the only one actually building something, instead of just producing a number and disappearing. Ranked by what each one is actually worth 12 months out, not what it made in month 1. 5. Cashback and roundup apps. Solid habit, roughly $500 to $600 a year. Flat, never grows past that ceiling. 4. Selling unused stuff. The strongest one-time windfall on the list, and then it's completely gone. 3. The high-yield savings switch. The smallest number on day 1, and one of the only 2 still getting bigger with 0 ongoing effort. 2. The side hustle. Real, growing, genuinely good money, but it is a part-time job that costs real hours every single month, forever, to keep the number alive. 1. The small recurring stream. The smallest number in month 1, and on pace to be the biggest number in the room by month 6 if left alone. If there's one sentence to take from this entire experiment, the tips that felt the most exciting produced the least durable money, and the tip that felt the most boring in week 1 is the only one still growing after the video ends. That's the month. That's the real math. No rounding in anyone's favor. If this saved you from chasing 5 different things when really one would have done the job, that's exactly the kind of video this channel exists to make. Subscribe if you want the next one, because next month I'm testing the tips finance influencers specifically warn you against. And based on how this one went, I have a feeling at least one of those flips the exact same way. Drop a comment with which of these 5 you'd actually try first. I read every one.